Welcome to the WPL Book Drop Podcast. I'm your host, Becky Miller, Circulation and Marketing Assistant at Waterloo Public Library, Iowa Winter Survivor, feeder of Backyard Scavengers, and graduate student at the University of Iowa. Joining us today is Waterloo Mayor Quentin Hart. He likes to think of himself as a chef and a grill master. He enjoys golfing, and he has won almost all of the games he's ever coached except for 3.
Right. I did retire after that, so.
Oh, okay. What games were those? Are those
I coach midnight basketball for a while. I coach Pee Wee football. I coach intramural before. And then randomly when one of my son's coaches asked me to do something as well. Or my daughter's right now too, so I've had fun coaching.
So you've been into the youth sports side of things.
Absolutely. And the midnight basketball, that was adults. So.
Oh, so do you play at midnight?
Yeah, actually back then it was at midnight. It was a great program in the city. So.
Where did you do this?
The games were played at East High School, and back then, way a long time ago, it was a program to give people something to do around 9 to midnight, which we know there's a lot of problems at that time for people without activity. So it was a great program. Had much success, so very appreciative. It's no longer here.
Yeah, that's cool though.
But yeah, really good program.
Back in the day, so how long ago was that?
Woo, man. Let me see. Maybe in the late 90s. Early 2000s, maybe.
Okay,
oh,
so not that far back.
Oh yeah, you just wanted me to just date myself. Just
yeah, date yourself
I just found out now. I see what the angle is right
That's
now.
That's the angle we go for. We investigate things here at the library. It's what we do.
Okay.
We traffic in information. So welcome, Quentin.
All right.
Since this is your first time joining us on the podcast, could you tell us a little bit about your job as the mayor and what made you want to become Waterloo's mayor? You've been in for a number of years now.
Right. Well, I probably do almost as many things as your title was a little while ago, but they would call it like the CEO of the city. All of our departments, our police, our fire, clerk's office, leisure services, but just kind of gives oversight to those areas and make sure that we're providing quality services to our residents as well. And so a lot of different initiatives, from ones that I've started on my own, like I just had a meeting with Carol about the Waterloo Youth Council and the future of the Youth Council, all the way to our 2030 vision plan that we put forth, and talking to different service groups and seeing how we can gain additional partnerships to our basic functions. Are we, when you flush your toilet, it goes somewhere. We oversee that department, our waste department, our refuse department. Is your garbage being picked up? But all of those areas, I oversee the departments that take care of your basic services.
So you're keeping things running, keeping the lights going, basically.
Well, I say we are. I'm fortunate. I get to work with incredible people every day that are a lot more knowledgeable in those areas than I am. So I really depend on their expertise and their training. And so do the citizens. So we are duly dependent on those that are providing quality services for us every day of the year. And when you're sleeping, our city departments are still working. When you're awake, we're still working. When you're celebrating activities or holidays, we're still working, trying to provide the services that you need in your everyday life.
Absolutely. So what made you want to become Waterloo's mayor?
Well, I never had a dream of becoming mayor. When I was reading books when I was in kindergarten, I never thought about being mayor. But I started on city council because I saw some things that I think needed to be changed. I didn't run because I didn't like the city. I ran because I love the city, and I believe that we could accomplish great things when we work together. So I ran for city council. First time I lost, but came back and just continued to work. We're seeing some incredible signs while I was on city council. So then I said, well, hey, let's take it to the next level. And I decided to run for mayor because I believe that our best days are ahead of us, and there's nothing we can't accomplish if we work together and have a one community mindset. And that doesn't mean we don't disagree, because we're going to disagree. But the question is, can we do that without being disagreeable? Can we find some common ground to work from to move the city forward? And so I just feel like I'm so fortunate to be in this position. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't trade a day with you. Well, I would, because I love what I do, and I love this community, I love the people, I love our department. So I decided to run because I think we have an incredible opportunity for progressing this community.
What would you say is the best part of your job?
The best part, I went to St. Ed's, and I went to Blessed Maria, and I had an opportunity to hear from the fourth graders and talk to their entire schools. And so, to me, that's incredible. Being able to go out and visit some of our senior centers and talk to people. Just being out every day. I mean, people know who I am. I may not know them, but just the love and the support that I get. We have some tough days, but we work hard to try to get through them. So, and I love seeing success. I love seeing a person get their first home. I love seeing a business owner reach a certain milestone. I love seeing city staff that feel like they've accomplished something they've been trying to work on. So I get a lot from seeing the success of other people.
So the community engagement aspect and then people reaching their goals and objectives is probably one of the favorite parts of your job.
Right.
What are you most looking forward to for Waterloo in the coming years?
Well, that's a good question. When we were in the midst of the pandemic, which we still are, don't get me wrong, we did a lot of planning. We did a lot of strategic planning. We worked with the University of Iowa. We work with Vanderwall and Associates, and we work with De Novo to put together a 2030 vision plan for the city of Waterloo. What are we going to look like? And we came up with 8 big ideas in 8 years. Number 1 is flying the W, making sure that we're marketing and we're telling our story about who we are. Number 2 is elevating housing, which focuses on improving our overall housing stock. Number 3, I believe, is celebrate and connect communities, where each community has something unique about it. So how can we help that community grow and be safe and have walkability and all those amenities? Number 4 is Waterloo Works, partnering with our education or our apprenticeship, connecting new employees here to mentors. Number 5 is Power Up Crossroads, where we talk about the Crossroads area with the theme park and the retail, and how can we make this area an even greater destination. Number 6 is Power Up Downtown, and that is taking a look at our downtown and seeing what we can do to continually evolve our downtown and make it even greater destination. Number 8 is Waterloo is a community of opportunity for all, and that works on reducing barriers or anything that has an impact on people's lives. We want to deal with transportation. We want to deal with child care. We want to deal with the number of barriers that are keeping people from having as much success as they want to. So the theme is Waterloo is a community of opportunity for where everyone can prosper.
So yeah, I think I did see some of those. I asked my manager here at the library, Jillian, she's been on the podcast before, to send me those because I was working on a school project tying like what the library's doing to what the city of Waterloo is focusing on. And she had talked about how some of the department head meetings that it was everybody's working towards these goals that the city is developing. So that was when it was kind of under development. And
Right.
so that was really cool to see. The reason that we have you on the podcast today is to promote your visit to the Waterloo Public Library for Black History Month Storytime. And for our listeners that don't know, the library usually has a special guest story time every February for Black History Month. And you are one of our guests again this year. You've been doing it for a number of years. And you will join us on Saturday, February 12th for the in-person story time. and we're very much looking forward to your visit. So I do want to ask you, looking back to your childhood years, what books did you most enjoy reading?
The Dr. Seuss series, that was, well, of course, things are a lot different than they are now, right? But Dr. Seuss stories. I remember one of the books that I got from our book club was the Return of the Jedi, if I'm not mistaken, and that was like a long book back then. And I remember reading about that Star Wars portion. There was Ron that was a little bit naughty. Judy Blume.
Oh, Judy Blume. Oh, yes, of
I
course.
remember those books as well. Yeah, those were.
It's always the ones where, like, don't read this title. Then it's like, okay, I have to
You gotta
read the
that
title.
like right now. So, yeah, I remember a lot of those books.
Yeah. What kind of books are you into nowadays?
A little bit more socially conscious, and something that gives a little of a message. Sometimes it could be spiritual encouragement. Sometimes it could be something related to politics. It can be something related to influencing others, or how to pull the best out of people that you work with, or increasing the sphere of influence. So things that are a little bit more socially conscious, more so than just entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoy those types of books too. I'm a big nonfiction reader. Mm-hmm. People that listen to the podcast know that I'm a nerd in that way.
Right.
One of the books that I recently read was, and this is the one I brought to share today, it's Quick and Nimble, Lessons for Leading CEOs on How to Create a Culture of Innovation.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of a mouthful, but
Right.
basically, how do you get people to work together? What kind of values do you develop as a team? And if you're not sharing the certain values, you're not going to accomplish much. Mm-hmm. You're not going to make change in the way that you need to. So these were mostly just a bunch of quotes from different CEOs. There were a ton of interviews that this author did, Adam Grant, with all this. It's actually an assignment for one of my classes. So it's about teamwork, the organization, and then how those values that you have together drive your decision making, and then behaviors, and then ultimately the outcomes. Mm-hmm. I thought it was, an interesting book. It was just okay for me.
Right.
But
I thought you were bringing that for me.
I was bringing it for you. It's got all my markings in it.
Oh, there we go. You saved me the work.
Yeah, there you go. This is how it's done.
Right.
Have the mayor on and tell him how to run the city.
No, I listen, no matter where I go or what position I hold, the ability to still be able to listen to people and learn from people is vitally important in this role if you want to be successful, if you want to continue to evolve in the right way. So I'll listen.
You're right, because there were some good tidbits that were in here. I won't discount the whole book. Some of the stuff was like, okay, come on, man. But yeah, there's good advice in there as well. Right. Is there a book that you want to talk about that you read recently?
Well, not read. I just read one with my daughter, the 1619 Project, Born on the Water.
Yes.
So I had my daughter read that to me. But also, though, I just purchased the 1619 book, which is a pretty decent sized read in and of itself. So that'll be the next book that I commit 100% to. I read the New York Times portion of it, but right now I want to try to make it through this book. And I better, because Nikole Hannah-Jones is a really good friend, and so I need to lead by example and make sure I read the entire book from end to end. So that's where my deep dive is at in a book as well.
That's awesome. It's a great read. I listened to that one from the library. We have the Libby app, if you're familiar with that. You can listen to audiobooks there, or you can read ebooks. So I listened to it before. We had a book discussion in January on that book, and it was really great.
I didn't think about the audio, though, so I'm at
Yeah, it was good. I had a couple of people that mentioned maybe not audio was their favorite, because there's poetry in there, and then there's some fiction in, and when this is such a heavy subject, you want to sit and absorb it, where audiobook can be harder. But I appreciated the different voices, because each person who writes an essay in the book, they all read it aloud themselves. So I thought that was good. But that is such a heavy book, and my
Yeah.
mom's reading it right now, and she's like, "Oh, you can really only do like one essay at a time because
Right,
it's
right.
so heavy, and you know it's an important topic." All right, well, Quentin, thank you so much for taking time to stop by on the WPL Book Drop podcast. It's really been a pleasure.
Well, the pleasure has been all mine, and you keep up the good work too. Seems like you have a lot of things going on. You're a very powerful influence, and you're well read and well studied. So it's been my pleasure.
Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to your visit for Black History Month Storytime. And the day you're coming is going to be February 12th.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. If you liked today's episode, be sure to leave a rating and subscribe. Thank you.